What if I told you that the reason your weight loss goals keep failing has nothing to do with the plan itself? What if the problem isn't that you picked the wrong program, the wrong diet, or the wrong workout routine? What if the real issue is something much deeper, something that goes to the heart of who God created you to be and how He's calling you to live? Today we're talking about compliance, not the kind that makes you feel guilty or ashamed, the kind that sets you free. Because here's the truth. Your results are based on your compliance, and the protocol doesn't work if you don't follow it. But more importantly, God has something to say about follow-through, stewardship, and the kind of people He's calling us to become. Let's talk about why you're not losing weight, what God says about it, and exactly how to fix it starting today. Welcome to Strength for Generations, the go-to podcast for Christian families who want to build strength, restore energy, and deepen connection with God at the center. I'm Krista Baker, Christian health coach, wife, mom, and co-founder of Baker Family Fitness. I'm here to help you honor God with your health and bring peace back to the process, to simplify what it means to build strength in your body, renew your mind, and care for your spirit, all without losing precious time with your family. So grab your coffee and your ribeye, and let's do this His way. Now, before we dive in, can I ask you for something that would be such a blessing? If this podcast has impacted your life, would you take 30 seconds to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode? Here's why this matters. Every subscription helps us reach more families who feel stuck and defeated in their health. More parents who want to honor God with their bodies but don't know how to follow through. More spouses who feel like they're failing at something that should be so simple. Your support literally helps us build strength for generations. So if you've been blessed, would you bless someone else by sharing this message? I really appreciate you guys being here, and thank you for being part of this mission. All right, let's talk about something that might sting a little, but I promise you there's hope on the other side of this conversation. And before we go any further, let me be clear about something. This isn't about finding the perfect weight loss plan. There are hundreds of good plans out there, thousands of effective approaches, programs that work, systems that get results. The problem isn't the lack of good options. The problem is that none of them work if you don't actually follow them. Here's what I've learned after coaching hundreds of parents and families who feel stuck in their weight loss journey. The reason you're not losing weight isn't because you don't know what to do. It's because you're not doing what you know. Your results are directly tied to your compliance. Not your knowledge, not your intentions, not how much you spent on the program, not how many podcasts you've listened to, your compliance. The protocol does not work if you don't follow it. And I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me because there's grace in this truth. Let me paint a bit of a picture for you that might feel uncomfortably familiar. Let's say you're a busy mom in your 40s. You look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back at you. When did your jeans get so tight? When did moving feel so hard? When did you start avoiding photos with your family? You decide this week everything changes. You research the best plans. You buy all the right foods. You download the app. You set your alarm for 5 a.m. You're going to meal prep on Sunday. You're going to work out every day. You're going to track everything. You're going to be the woman you used to be. Monday starts great. You eat your planned breakfast. You get your workout in before the kids wake up. You feel powerful. You feel in control. You think this time is different. Tuesday is harder. The baby was up all night. Your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you hit snooze 3 times. You grab a granola bar instead of making your planned breakfast. You tell yourself you'll work out after the kids go to bed, but by bedtime, you're exhausted. You promise yourself you'll get back on track tomorrow. Wednesday arrives with a sick kid. Work is crazy. Your spouse needs you to handle something urgent. Your planned workout becomes a distant memory. Your meal prep sits in containers in the fridge mocking you. By Friday, you've completely abandoned the plan. By Sunday, you're planning to start again Monday. Or maybe you're the dad who knows he needs to lose weight. You can feel your energy dropping. Your clothes are getting tighter. You're embarrassed to take your shirt off at the pool. You worry about being the dad who can't keep up with his kids. You find a plan that looks doable, and you start with enthusiasm. But every day brings another crisis at work, another responsibility that feels more urgent than taking care of yourself. Your lunch break gets eaten up by meetings. Your evening workout gets pushed aside for family obligations. The drive-thru becomes your meal plan. The couch becomes your gym. And you tell yourself, you're just too busy right now. You'll start when things calm down. But things never calm down. And here's what breaks my heart about this cycle. It's not just about the weight. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you're eroding your self-trust. Every time you start and quit, you're reinforcing the belief that you can't follow through. Every time you choose convenient over consistent, you're practicing a character pattern that will show up in other areas of your life. Your children are watching. Your family's watching. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you want to have kids. Your nieces, your nephews. They're learning from your example what it looks like to set goals and abandon them. They're seeing what it means to prioritize everything except taking care of yourself. Your spouse is watching too. They see you frustrated. They see you starting over and over again. They feel helpless because they want to support you, but they don't know how. And most importantly, you're teaching your own heart that it can't be trusted, that you don't have what it takes, that you're the kind of person who starts but doesn't finish. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about weight loss. This is about stewardship. It's about the faithfulness in the small things. This is about becoming the kind of person God created you to be. Luke 16:10 tells us, "Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much, and whoever is unrighteous in very little is also unrighteous in much." Your body is not separate from your spiritual life. How you care for your body God gave you reflects how you handle the responsibilities He's entrusted to you. When we consistently break promises to ourselves about our health, we're practicing unfaithfulness. That unfaithfulness doesn't stay contained to just our workout schedule. It seeps into other areas, our relationships, our work, our parenting, our spiritual disciplines, our marriages. But here's the beautiful truth. When we practice faithfulness in small things, like moving our body and nourishing it well, we're building the character that honors God in every area of life. We're teaching ourselves that we can be trusted. We're proving to our own hearts that we have what it takes. We're modeling for our children what it looks like to steward the gifts God has given us. Now, before I give you the 5 steps to fix this, we need to dig deeper into why this happens. Because until you understand the why, the how won't stick. So reason 1, we mistake motivation for commitment. Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. It's high on Monday morning and gone by Wednesday afternoon. Commitment is a decision. It's what you do when you don't feel like it. It's what carries you through when motivation fails. Too many people wait for motivation to return before they act. But successful people act in spite of their feelings. They understand that motivation follows action, not the other way around. And just think about what it was like when you were in university. Or if you're a young person listening to this message and you're in school right now. Maybe you're not motivated to get up and go to school, but you do it because you're committed. You've got to see it through. You've got to finish the semester. It's very similar, and we have to start really understanding that all of these concepts work well when we stop relying on motivation and we start acting even if we don't feel like it. Reason number 2, we try to change everything at once. I have mentioned this to you guys so many times, and I see it all the time, and I will continue to repeat it. Your brain can only handle so much change at one time. So when you try to overhaul your entire life in 1 week, you're setting yourself up for failure. Your willpower is limited. Your mental energy is finite. When you spread it too thin, everything suffers. Okay, reason number 3, we focus on outcomes instead of systems. You want to lose 30 pounds, but you don't have a system for consistent movement. You want to eat healthy, but you don't have a system for meal planning and preparation. You want to feel energetic, but you don't have a system for prioritizing sleep. Outcomes are what you want. Systems are how you get there. Reason number 4, we don't connect our goals to our deeper values. Wanting to lose weight because society says you should isn't strong enough. Wanting to fit in smaller clothes isn't compelling enough. Wanting to look good in pictures won't sustain you when life gets hard. You need a why that's bigger than your comfort. A why that's rooted in your calling as a parent, as a spouse, as a child of God. Reason number 5, try to do it alone. God designed us for community. I mean, I tried to do church alone for a little while, and I was doing it from my living room. I wasn't alone. I was with Mike, but we were alone. Our marriage needed people. We needed community. But the enemy was really trying to keep us from that because we kept making up these excuses. And then when we reflected on scripture, we realized we are so designed for community. And we have to implement that into all areas of our lives. God designed us for community, for accountability, for support, but we try to change our health in isolation. We don't tell anyone our goals because we're afraid we'll fail again. I work on helping people really figure out what their goals are. And sometimes they're afraid to say what they really want. And I see this a lot. It's almost like if I say these things that I really want, but I've tried all these other things that didn't work, or I didn't work them, I'm going to fail anyway. So I'm not going to say it out loud. But I'm like, no, we got to put these words out there and speak life into what we're doing. Isolation guarantees failure. Community creates a support structure you need to succeed. Okay, grab something to write with because I'm going to give you the 5 specific steps to fix your compliance problem. These aren't just theory. These are battle-tested strategies that work when you work them. Step number 1, start ridiculously small. I cannot overstate how important this is. You think you need to go from 0 to hero overnight? Monday, you're going to meal prep for the week, work out 6 days, drink a gallon of water, get 8 hours of sleep, read your Bible for an hour, take your vitamins, track everything. By Tuesday, you're already behind. By Wednesday, you're giving up. This isn't a character flaw. This is biology. Your brain can only handle so much change at once. When you try to change too much too fast, your brain perceives it as a threat and fights back. It will sabotage your efforts to keep you in your comfort zone. So we're going to outsmart your brain. Pick one thing, one tiny thing that feels almost too easy. So easy, it feels silly not to do it. And maybe it's drinking 1 extra glass of water every day. Maybe it's doing 10 squats before you brush your teeth at night. Maybe it's walking to the end of your driveway and back. Maybe it's going to bed 15 minutes earlier. That's it. Nothing else. Master that one thing for a week before you add anything else. I know it feels too small. I know it feels like it won't make a difference, but small, consistent actions build the neural pathways for bigger changes. They prove to your brain that you can be trusted. They create momentum. They build confidence. Okay, step 2, we're going to focus on progress, not perfection. This is where most people sabotage themselves. I was very guilty of it myself for a very long time. You miss one workout and decide the whole week is ruined. You eat something that wasn't on your plan and you throw in the towel for the rest of the day. You're looking for perfect compliance instead of consistent progress. But perfection is the enemy of progress. God doesn't call us to perfection. He calls us to faithfulness. And faithfulness isn't about never failing. It's about getting back up every time you fail. Stop saying, I blew it, I'll start Monday. Start saying, I'm getting back on track with my next meal. Stop saying, I missed my workout, the week is totally ruined. Start saying, I'll do something active today, even if it's just a walk around the block. Stop saying, I ate the cookie, may as well eat the whole sleeve. Start saying, I enjoyed that cookie, now I'm back to my plan. Progress compounds, perfection paralyzes. Think about it this way. If you follow your plan 80% of the time, you'll get amazing results. If you wait for 100% compliance, you never start. And here's what's beautiful about focusing on progress. It changes how you see setbacks. Instead of seeing them as failures, you see them as data. Instead of seeing them as a reason to quit, you see them as opportunities to problem solve. Instead of seeing them as proof that you can't do this, you see them as part of the process. Okay, step 3, we're going to connect your weight loss to your calling. This is the step that separates people who succeed long-term from people who start and stop forever. You need a why. That's bigger than yourself. A why that's rooted in your calling as a follower of Christ. Let me ask you some questions. How would losing weight help you serve God better? Write your answer down. What is he saying to you right now? All you got to do is say, God, if I start feeling better in my own body, how can I serve you better? How would having more energy impact your ability to love your family well? Write down your answer. How would feeling confident in your own body change how you show up in the world? That's a tough one, but he's going to reveal to you exactly what you need right now. How would modeling healthy stewardship influence your children's relationship with their own bodies? That's a big one. They see us hiding and not going into the pool or wearing a bathing suit. What do you think is going to happen to them? How would taking care of yourself impact your ability to care for others? Write all these answers down, make them very specific, make them personal, make them about something bigger than fitting in smaller jeans. Here are some examples from people I've coached. I want to lose weight so I can keep up with my grandchildren when they visit. Oh, and I have so many people message me and they're like, I have these kids coming over and I'm excited. I'm not dreading this. I want to have the energy to serve in kids ministry without getting exhausted. I want to model for my daughter what it looks like to take care of the body God gave her. I want to model for my son what it looks like to take care of the body God gave him. I want to feel confident leading worship because I know I'm stewarding my health well. I want to have the stamina to go on missions trips and serve others physically. I want to honor my spouse by taking care of the body they're attracted to. I want to live long enough to see my children's children grow up. Notice that none of them are really about appearance. They're talking more about a calling, about service, about stewardship, about love. When your why is bigger than your comfort, you'll push through when things get hard. It's my favorite thing to do with people is helping them figure out what their life will look like when we're done working together. Who are they becoming? What does your testimony say? And I don't know if you have looked on any of my social media where I've had people write testimonies. Sometimes we say how many pounds they lost because they might lead with that, and that might be their favorite part about what they were able to do because they finally did that thing. But 99% of the time, it's about how they're able to show up, how they feel like they can help their family on such a deeper level, how they're loving themselves again, how they're just putting their summer outfits on confidently, how they don't feel cranky anymore. You know, a lot of the husbands will say, I'm just really proud of myself for following through and I feel stronger and I'm more active, and a lot of the times they're playing sports again, and that's a really cool thing. So just remember, when your why is bigger than your comfort, you'll push through even when things get hard, and things will get hard. Step 4, we're going to track everything for awareness. What gets measured gets managed. If you're not tracking what you're doing, you have no idea if you're actually following through or just hoping you are. You need data, not feelings, to guide your decisions. Most people think they're eating less and moving more than they actually are. And I have reviewed thousands of people's daily activity and their nutrition. Trust me, 99% of the time, this is the case. They think they're being consistent when they're really not. They think they're following through. They think they're following the plan when they're actually winging it most days. Tracking creates awareness, and awareness is the first step to change. Track what you eat, not to judge yourself, not to be perfect, but to see patterns, to understand where you're consistent and where you're not, to identify triggers that lead to poor choices, to celebrate wins you might otherwise overlook. Track when you move your body. How long? How did it feel? What made it easier or harder to show up? Track your sleep. When you went to bed, when you woke up, how you felt the next day. Track your mood, track your energy, track your stress levels. All of this data helps you to see connections you might miss otherwise. Maybe you always overeat when you're stressed. Maybe you skip workouts when you don't get enough sleep. Maybe you make better food choices when you plan ahead. You can't fix what you don't acknowledge. You can't improve what you don't measure. But here's the key. Track without judgment. When I start people off, I'm like, we just track to gather information so I know how to adjust their plan. It's really a massive, important piece of that one-on-one coaching that I do with individuals. So I make sure I get a good overview of everything they're doing so we can make small little adjustments along the way. And there is zero judgment. When I get on a call with someone, I say, listen, the more you can be open and honest with me today, the better I'm going to be able to guide you. And it's not my place to judge. Sometimes we judge ourselves. So that's one thing I want you to be mindful of as you do some tracking. I want you to track without judgment. I want you to track as a scientist, not a critic. You're gathering information to help you succeed, not evidence to beat yourself up. Okay, step 5, we're going to build accountability that matters. This might be the most important step of all, because trying to change your health in isolation is like trying to learn to swim without getting in the water. Tell someone specifically what you're committing to, not your whole social media following. One person who will lovingly ask how you're doing. I actually had a really cool conversation with my dad this morning, and we've got some concerns regarding my mom's experience with the hospital and the care that we believe she's going to need. And my dad is such a positive man, and he's like, I don't want to say anything negative. I don't want to even have those words come to me. And I told him, I said, Dad, sometimes you just need one person to say the things that are actually really going on inside of you. Just one. You don't need to tell everybody, and you don't need to repeat it over and over. Sometimes we just need to get these things out. And so on our health journey, if we have one person who will lovingly ask you how you're doing, that we can trust, someone that's going to care enough to actually check in, someone who's going to celebrate your wins and encourage you through your struggles. Sure, I'm a coach. I do this naturally. I do it for my clients. It's part of who I am. It's why I chose this career. And I really try to do it with other people in my life because those things are really important. And I mean, obviously my clients, they pay me, but I don't do it because they pay me. I do it because they're in my circle and I truly care. And I want to make sure that I don't let them off the hook when they want to quit. That's that's my job, but also like the friends and the people in my life that aren't my clients. You want to find someone who wants to lose weight and maybe do it together. That might be helpful for you. Then you can text each other when you complete your workouts. You can share meal ideas, pray for each other, celebrate small wins together, problem solve challenges together. Remember the verse that tells us a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. God designed us for community, for accountability, for support. But choose your accountability partner wisely. You don't want someone who's going to enable your excuses. You don't want someone who will let you slide when things get hard. And ideally, it's tough in relationships to do, like, we want our significant other and our family to be on board. But oftentimes I work with couples and I will often say, please don't tell each other what to do in the house. It doesn't work well. Like I build Mike's program. I build his workout programs for him, but I don't tell him what to do. I prepare food for him that I know will help benefit his results and to help him with his goals and to make sure that he has food while he's, working all these hours out on the road. But I'm not going to sit here and tell him what to do because it just doesn't go well. And we want to make sure that whoever is in our life isn't going to just, let you slide when things get hard. You want to have someone who loves you enough to speak the truth. Someone who will remind you of your why when you forget. Someone who will help you get back on track when you stumble. And like in the marriage situation, it's tough because it's so intimate. It's so, we want to encourage each other in so many different ways. But, I've often heard couples be like, well, I don't want this person telling me what I can eat and what I can't eat. Instead, guys, we're working on supporting each other and not breathing down each other's neck. Okay? So let's talk about something that nobody wants to discuss, but everyone needs to hear. You're going to have major setbacks. I say this in every one of my calls. I'm like, I'm going to be here with you in your valleys and on the top of the mountain because we're going to have both of those things happen over the next 6 months. We are going to have seasons where everything falls apart. It's June. A lot of people realize what happens in June. June's a very busy month. Life is throwing us curveballs that derail all of our plans. Or maybe you get sick and you can't exercise for weeks and you definitely don't feel like eating protein. I don't know about you guys, but I do my best to eat as much protein as I can if I'm unwell, but my body definitely does not want it. And maybe you go through a stressful season at work and stress eating becomes your coping mechanism. Maybe you have a family crisis that takes all your mental energy. I'm working through some stuff with my family right now, and I'm, semi-distracted in areas, or I'm concerned. I have these other concerns. So where might be a little bit more focused on doing something else, it's, 6:30 in the morning and I'm calling my dad just to make sure everybody's okay, which is good. I'm okay doing those things. I'm not complaining about that, but it's definitely it taking away from a little bit of my mental energy. Maybe you go through a season of depression where getting out of bed feels impossible. It's very common. These aren't failures. They're part of life, and how you handle them determines whether you succeed long-term or stay stuck in the start-stop cycle forever. We call that the weight loss roller coaster, or even just a roller coaster in general. Life feels like one. But I always think about what God says. He doesn't say that we aren't going to be in a valley. And I talked about that last week. I'm coming out of a valley. I'm starting to climb my way up a bit, and it feels good because being in the valley really sucks. But I had to be honest when I was in that valley. So when you face a major setback, here's what you do. First, give yourself grace. Don't spiral into shame and self-condemnation. Don't use a setback as evidence that you can't do this. Recognize that setbacks are normal and expected. Second, assess what happened without judgment. What caused the setback? What could have been done differently? What support did you need that you didn't have? What patterns contributed to the problem? Third, adjust your approach. Maybe you were trying to do too much. Maybe you didn't have enough support. Maybe your why wasn't strong enough. Maybe you were relying too heavily on motivation instead of the systems. Use the setback as information to improve your strategy. Fourth, start smaller than before. Your confidence is probably shaken, your momentum is gone, your habits are broken. So start with something even smaller than you started with originally. If you were walking 30 minutes a day before the setback, just start back with 10. Sometimes you just got to get up and do it. I don't know who needs to hear that right now, but that one feels really deep in my heart from the Lord. Like sometimes you just need to get up and do the thing. And let's say you were meal prepping every Sunday. Just start with prepping one meal and make sure to recommit to your why. Remind yourself why this matters. Okay, this question, I don't know if you've heard me say it or not, but I'm going to say it today. What happens if another 5 years goes by, another year goes by, another 6 months goes by, and nothing's changed? That has to be thought about because we need to figure out, that's where you really figure out your why. Read your written reasons for wanting to lose the weight. Connect with your deeper purpose. We want to make sure we're not waiting for the perfect time to start. There's never a perfect time. I know we've talked about this a lot. Please don't make it all or nothing. Don't try to white knuckle your way through everything and just work on willpower alone. Don't ignore your emotional relationship with food. Don't assume everything's going to go perfectly. I need you to hear this. Building compliance isn't about becoming a perfect person. It's about becoming a faithful person, okay? There are days you're not going to want to follow through. This is not the end of your story. This is part of your story, and God's mercies are new every morning. His grace is sufficient for your weakness. His grace doesn't mean we don't try. It means we try with the confidence that our worth isn't tied to our performance. We are already loved. I just talked to Bailey about this earlier. She said something about herself, and I looked at her. I said, well, who told you that? And she just looks up. She's like, the enemy? Kind of question mark. I said, well, is that true about you? The words that you just said out loud, is that true about you? She said, no. I said, then what is true? What does God say? And then she replaced it. And we went down this little list. We are already loved. We're already chosen. We're already enough. Now we get to honor him. Now is my opportunity to get up and honor him with how we steward what he has given us. We get to build strength for generations. Now, here's what I want you to do before this episode ends. Pick one small action from what we talked about today. Just one. That's it. Nothing crazy. Write it down. You've probably got some good notes by now. Don't overthink it. Don't make it complicated. Talk to somebody about it. Create some accountability immediately and start right now. Don't even wait for tomorrow. Whatever time of day you're listening to this, just start right now, not tomorrow. And let me pray for us before we go. Heavenly Father, thank you for the bodies you've given us. Thank you for the strength to take another step forward. Lord, we confess that we often start with good intentions, but struggle to follow through. We've broken promises to ourselves. We've started and stopped more times than we can count. We felt defeated and ashamed. We ask for your forgiveness and your help today, Lord. Help us to build faithfulness in the small things. God, give us wisdom to start where we are, not where we think we should be. And give us grace for the days that we fall short. Give us courage to try again. Help us to remember that our health is not separate from our spiritual life, but part of how we honor you. Lord, use our journey toward better health to build character that reflects your love in every area of our lives. Help us to connect our weight loss goals to our calling as children, as parents, as spouses, as your children. Give us the strength to choose progress over perfection. Help us to build systems that work even when we don't feel motivated. Lord, surround us with people who will encourage us and hold us accountable. Strengthen us for the work you've called us to do. Remind us daily that our worth comes from you and not from our performance. God, use this journey to draw us closer to you and make us more like Christ. In Jesus' mighty, mighty, mighty name. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so grateful to have you here. Until next time, keep on building strength for generations. Thanks for tuning in to Strength for Generations. If this podcast encouraged you, it would be a blessing if you took a quick minute to leave a 5-star review. It helps more families hear this message and find hope for their health and faith journey. It lights me up to know this podcast is helping you. And if you feel led to share this episode, text it to a friend, post it to your stories, or send it to someone on your heart. God might use it to encourage someone who really needs it today. And don't forget to eat steaks, lift weights, love Jesus, and keep doing it His way.